What is going on with the M64? It's been a couple of months now since its unveiling, and I still feel like we've seen absolutely nothing important about it, despite the steady flow of proxy teasers releasing. No hate to any of these people, but there's only so many videos I can watch of somebody raving about an eject button before I start to think something's up. You know what else had an eject button? The Super Nintendo. You know what didn't? Must not have been that important. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, first off, how'd you find this video? Second off, this is the M64, a yet to be released as of making this modern-day Nintendo 64 made by ModRetro, aka Palmer Luckey's side project when he's not making AI murder drones for the US government. The more I learn about this guy, the more I just don't want to touch anything he's involved with a 10-foot pole. I guess that's just par for the course for literally any company at this point. Anyways, ModRetro's been teasing this thing's release for a couple months now, mainly by showcasing different internet personalities' thoughts on their promotional units. There's a couple of problems with this. Besides it feeling like you're getting ads for a product that just doesn't exist yet, because you are. As I said in the intro, they really don't show us anything important about the M64, especially in its relation to its direct competitor, the already released Analogue 3D. For comparison's sake, this is the Analogue 3D. Just like the ModRetro M64, it's an FPGA-based Nintendo 64 clone console that's meant to sort of modernize the original N64. If you don't know what an FPGA chip is, it's special in that it can be programmed to essentially mimic other chips. So in terms of playing older games, instead of software emulation, where a program pretends to be an old system, the hardware itself in an FPGA console is pretending to be the system. Meaning it has the ability to be more accurate to original hardware than software emulation is, so long as the FPGA core is made well enough. And yeah, the Analogue 3D one seems pretty great. I know it's not 100% accurate like Analogue advertised, which you can check out this video from Kaze that goes over the technical stuff surrounding it that I don't quite understand. But to be honest, to the naked eye, I haven't been able to tell the difference in what I've played. They've been updating it regularly since that video too, so it's only gotten better with time. The N64 is already one of my favorite consoles ever. I still play those games constantly, and this sleek looking thing is taken over from my original. It is 100% compatible with the entire N64 library. As far as I know anyways, I didn't test every single game, I don't have the time or budget for that. The wireless 8-bit Do controller is a fantastic upgrade over the original N64 controllers, though you can still use those in all original accessories if you're so inclined. The screen filters are absolutely gorgeous looking. Seriously, I have never been this impressed with a filter. I have a Sony Trinitron to compare them to. It's phenomenal. There's a virtual memory card, the ability to switch between it and rumble on the fly, the ability to exit out of the cartridge back to the main menu, a library feature that keeps track of playtime and even detects individual games off of a flash card to add to it, and on top of all of that, different overclocking options to improve the N64's notoriously awful frame rates. All for just $270 USD, not including a controller. I mean, I guess I didn't have to eat this month. Why'd I buy two of these? Why'd I buy one of these? With our baseline established, let's take a look at ModRetro's advertising to see where I wouldn't even say frustration, just confusion and fascination with how vague everything's been stems from. We'll start with what we know from their official ModRetro website. Front and center, the first thing to know about the M64, before you even know what it is, or plays, is that it costs $200 USD if you sign up for early bird pricing. Hey, that's actually pretty good. The Analogue 3D was $250 at launch, and now it's a whopping $270. Of course, ModRetro did do a similar thing with their Game Boy Color clone, the Chromatic. Early bird pricing was $200 for the one with the sapphire screen, then it jumped to $300. Hey, wait, you're not gonna do something similar with the M64, are you, Palmer? Palmer? Well, I guess later pricing is up in the air. Scrolling down a bit, we actually get to see what we just signed up to purchase. Still doesn't actually say what it is, actually anywhere on the official page. Like, yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory if you know what an N64 is, but not having a base description of it leaves a lot up to assumptions. Assuming it is an N64, does it play all N64 games? Is it accurate to original hardware? Can it hook up to a modern screen? 4K? 1080p? It really makes you start to wonder why it doesn't give any details. Well, anyways, we get a look at all the colors, and I gotta be honest, I really don't know what to think of the look of this thing. When it was first revealed, I thought it looked absolutely revolting. Very toy-like, but in a gross third-party controller sort of way. I think a Mad Catz controller looks right at home alongside it. Now that I've seen it around a bit though, especially in other videos, it's kind of grown on me. I do wish that they kept the color schemes of the Chromatic though. I think I'm a bit in the minority on this opinion, but I absolutely loved the look of the first editions. So having a matching home console would have been stellar, for me at least. But I digress. Scrolling further, we get a look at their wireless controller. And I don't really have anything snarky tricky to say about it. I love 8BitDo's modern approach for the Analogue 3D's N64 controller, but I don't have any issue with the original N64 controller design. You know, for N64 games specifically. So getting a different modern take that keeps the original form factor is fine by me. It is a little bit uglier without some of the ridges, and the prongs look oddly long, but I don't think any of that really matters. Also, looks like there's an original accessory port, which would be awesome. The 8BitDo one is missing that. I'm really looking forward to trying it out. And that's it, at least as far as this page goes. The only other information regarding the M64 you can find on the official ModRetro website is in a blog post where they boast about the console's PCBA. Say it'll boot in about 5 seconds, can wirelessly pair or plug into the controller we saw earlier that will apparently not be releasing alongside the console, has an option to keep the cartridge doors open at all times, which, you know, is great if you love dust collecting, and has an eject button so that you can eject the cartridge without pulling it off the ground. Oh, and there's a bar that can light up the cartridge label in the dark. You know, in case you forgot what you're playing.
I fucking love Donkey Kong.
To recap, this is the only stuff we have actual confirmation on from the official ModRetro website regarding the M64. Everything we don't definitively know? Hey, so I finished writing this, and about a day or two later, ModRetro sent out an email with a link to a new article about the M64's release. It is available on their website near the other blog posts, so what I just said isn't entirely true. I'll be going over it later, just hang tight for now. Well, if we want any other details on the M64, it looks like we're gonna have to move over to the ModRetro social media pages. Call me old-fashioned, but I find it a bit ludicrous that in order for a consumer to find very basic details about your product, they have to shift through your Instagram and Twitter. I really feel like this is where all the extra fun tidbits should be, like that light up bar and eject button, not confirmation that the thing can in fact play N64 games. Specifically Mario Kart, on a CRT interestingly enough, in this teaser that they released before officially unveiling the M64's design. As far as other official information I could find from ModRetro themselves that isn't repeated from the website or proxy teaser of sorts made by an online personality they reposted, we're getting recolored versions of the pre-existing Hyperkin third-party Captain controllers. Guys, I was joking about the Mad Catz controllers earlier. You did not have to go and do that. That's it. That's where any official information regarding the M64 from the mouth of ModRetro themselves ends. So you announced you entered mass production, you sent out early review units making it seem like a release was imminent, but are then saying these are all just prototypes and haven't officially released any information of substance on why to buy this over your competition, or even just basic information about the product? Are you starting to see why I find all of this so weird? Let's see if any of these teasers clear anything up. Yep, okay, that's the console, the eject button. Alright, something new. Get to see the weird dial and menu. It's got Wi-Fi, 4K output, good to know. The cartridge light. No gameplay, but the next video might have some. No. Comparing the boot time to the Analogue 3D that's already been fixed in an update. Like seriously, my TV takes longer to turn on. God, I hate modern TVs. Oh good, there's the cartridge eject button. Well, this next short looks promising. He's acknowledging people want to see more details and how it compares to the Analogue 3D. We might actually see something. He acknowledges it and then just talks about how he's nostalgic for the N64 before pointing us to a Retro Dodo video on it for actual info. Why would you do that? The worst part is nothing that he says is specific to the M64. It could just as easily apply to the Analogue 3D because it's all just about the base N64. Then he did the same thing again, just in a full-length video this time. Little disclaimer here, please do not take this as an excuse to go and harass any of these people. The point in this is to go and point out the ridiculousness in ModRetro's advertising, not to go and harass any of these creators. Well, let's go check out that Retro Dodo video he was talking about. Maybe we'll finally get some answers there.
But one feature that I wanted to share with you was this eject button.
If I have to pull a cartridge out one more time, I will go feral. Thankfully, that was just a short. On the actual full-length video, we get a lot of repeat information on the physical design of the thing, though we do get a glimpse at the menu having an option for integer or bilinear filtering, which is pretty neat to see. And then we finally get to see some gameplay. It looks... I mean, alright, I guess. I know that's just because of the N64's native game output, but without any filters like on the Analogue 3D, it is really looking crusty. Like N64 plugged into an HDMI converter crusty. He also mentions there's a few frame rate drops, which is kind of concerning. Like I said earlier, the Analogue 3D failed to deliver on its 100% accuracy claim, so one of the ways the M64 could get a leg up on it is with being more accurate. The screen working on the Luigi circuit is a good step in the right direction, but it would be very nice if we could see something like the intro to Donkey Kong 64 to see if DK makes that vine swing, or literally anything that showcases why we should buy the M64 over the 3D. Well, in this video, we finally get to see why we haven't. The features that actually matter haven't been added yet. A planned features list, including screen filters, overclocking, and built-in controller packs like on the Analogue 3D. There's a few interesting features listed here, like chromatic video pass-through, which I guess kinda muss up their Analogue Pocket comparison chart a bit, and confirmation that we are in fact getting newly developed N64 games, which is pretty awesome. But that still doesn't change the fact that everything being so vague was intentional. The ModRetro isn't just advertising an unreleased product, it's advertising an unfinished unreleased product. And that is really dumb. Don't just keep teasing us that you're going to do something cool. Either show us or get off the stage. Worst part is they're still doing this. They just had one not too long ago where Casey Neistat just plugs the thing in for a minute straight and smiles as Mario Kart boots up. There's no new information to give and nothing to order. This is around where the original video was supposed to end. But, like I said earlier, ModRetro decided to drop an update email with an article regarding the M64's release right after I got done writing this. So let's take a look and see what exciting new info they have to share. We got a ship date, end of July 2026. We get many questions about whether it makes sense to wait for the M64 versus alternatives. You should wait. We're finally getting official info. Lowest MSRP by far, even after early bird pricing ends. So what is it? I mean, that confirms it isn't sticking to the $200, but what does by far mean? $10 increase? 20? 30? If it jumps even 50, I don't think that's by far anymore. Stuff we already know, including Wi-Fi updates. Side note, but apparently wireless updates are planned for the Analogue 3D as well, which I did not realize. Moving down the list, 16 NM process node AMD UltraScale plus FPGA. Is that impressive? I genuinely don't know. Kind of the problem with listing specs like this, I don't think the average consumer reading this is gonna know either. Then we got fanless thermals, which doesn't really matter noise-wise. I never hear the Analogue 3D, but I do like that it's one less moving part to worry about going bad. So good on that. PS RAM architecture allows M64 to unlock significantly higher overclocking. I'm assuming it means compared to the Analogue 3D. Unfortunately, more power doesn't really mean anything without knowing how it'll use it. Will we have different options for RAM, GPU, and CPU like on the 3D? Or are they just trying to do a one-size-fits-all? Because if they are, I'm afraid that might break more games than it helps. So neat thing to have capability-wise, but not really a huge flex unless we know it isn't just gonna run amok with it. Full UI control from console, controller in games, yeah we know. No idea what deep integration is supposed to mean. Chromatic video pass-through and transfer pack. I'm a little concerned if we're going to be able to use a controller or not. The Chromatic's video out acts like a webcam on PC, so I wouldn't be surprised if this means it's going to be something similar where you still have to hold the Chromatic, just wired up to the M64. Designed to be taken apart easily. Nice. Doesn't necessarily mean easy repairability, but good step in the right direction. And then FPGA core will be open sourced upon launch. A lot of people I've seen online seem to think that this means we're getting open FPGA stuff like we did on the Analogue Pocket. Basically hoping we'll be able to play different consoles virtually on this. Open FPGA and open source are not the same thing. Open FPGA is specific to the Analogue Pocket and is an API framework. Open source means anyone can see the code and modify it. It does not mean we will be getting other systems on here. Remember, the Chromatic was also open source. We didn't get anything for that, so temper your expectations on that front. Next bullet point is just them gloating about their controller. Oh, we are definitely looking at that section next. Further confirmation they're releasing new games, and a statement saying that once their reviewers receive the latest updates in their M64 controllers, they'll be allowed to release their reviews. Which is just further confirmation that, yeah, the system wasn't ready. Why'd you start advertising it like you did then? You teased everyone for months with nothing to actually show for it. You know what? It's fine. Let's just look over the controller section real quick and we'll move on. We've been too busy doing the engineering work to send out fancy hardware trailers, and you probably wanted that money spent on the product anyways. No, actually, I did kind of want to know about your product that I was signing up to purchase, thanks. That's kind of been my complaint the whole video. This article's really just rubbing salt in the wounds at this point. As you know, we don't outsource designs to our manufacturers or white label existing low-end products from Amazon. Alright, what's your fancy controller sporting? It is overflowing with more features than any other pro-level controller has, at a price point of mass-produced, non-specialty controllers. Holy shit! I'm sorry, I didn't know your game, Palmer. You're telling me that your third-party Nintendo 64 controller is the best controller ever made. Nothing's got the features of this bad boy, with its one-hole joystick, an unreachable D-pad unless you change up your grip. Out of all the ridiculousness with the marketing so far, that is the boldest claim they've made. It's not just the best N64 controller, it's the best Pro controller, period. Swappable TMR joystick, same shell design but perfected the aesthetic of the front? What? Aluminum back for gripping. Look, I love a metal anything really, but don't be out here pretending it's the best for grip, alright? Oh, and that sucker's gonna be heavy. Wired option along with swappable wireless with rechargeable battery pack or with AA batteries. Well, shit, that means that's not an accessory port. Oh, but don't forget, the largest proper eccentric rotating mass motor possible for a big retro rumble. Bluetooth, wired, original N64 compatibility, and finally just them gloating about their Bluetooth connection's low input latency. Cause you really need that pinpoint precision when playing Glover. Alright, we have one last short section to cover and then we can wrap this up. The console itself. Starting with confirmation that it will hook up to a CRT, albeit with a separate adapter that, presumably from the wording, will not be available until later. Oh, so much more important than that, however, is them finally addressing core accuracy. By not actually addressing it, god damn it. One of the top highlights of developing the M64 has been our deep partnership with FPGA Spec and AMD to develop an Nintendo 64 core with the commitment to ultimately achieving perfect accuracy, and thus preservation of one of the most influential formats of gaming history. So what you're saying is just like the Analogue 3D, it's not 100% accurate yet. To what degree? We have no idea. Blah blah blah, FPGA emulation is still emulation, a screenshot showing the controllers and display settings, while still not showing what those display settings actually look like on a game. Talk about developing games, the end. Wow, that answered none of my questions and more! Despite me ragging on the marketing and general lack of information, at the end of the day, I really do want the M64 to turn out great. I love the Analogue 3D, but if it turns out better than that, awesome. I hope it does, genuinely. That being said, I really don't have that much hope at this point. I don't think it'll be a disaster by any means, but I really do not feel like there's any way it'll live up to the expectations ModRetro's built with their god-awful marketing. Honestly, all the weirdness surrounding the marketing and info for it became far more entertaining than I think just a direct review would ever be for me. That being said,